It's a weekend, the situation at the bottom of the table. I know you said last week to the fans not to panic, and you were still confident you would get out of it. Does it remain the same despite the defeat?
Yeah, it does. I think what it does, it makes Tuesday a must-win game for us. That's the pressure my players have to deal with. I felt going into the Blackburn game, coming out of the Blackburn and Preston game, 3 points would be good for us, and that remains the same. Now we've got the game on Tuesday, tomorrow against Preston, and we have to win.
It sounds as though, I mean, I've not seen the game myself, but it sounds as though you're playing okay stuff, but just not getting the results. How much of a concern is that for you, that you're doing okay and you're on this poor run?
Yeah, again, performances have been good, but what really has cost us all season is not scoring enough goals, and tomorrow we have to. So it's as simple as that. So it's a game where, of course, there's pressure. There's pressure in every game, but it's a game where we have to go into the game really to get the 3 points, which I'm sure the players know that, they do know that, and I'm sure they'll give the best effort to get the 3 points.
How big a concern is it, Wayne, that Rotherham have got those games in hand and, you know, should they win, then it essentially takes out of your hands? Yeah,
well, that's again, we have to focus on ourselves, on our game tomorrow. It's the most important game for us. Rotherham have, I think, 6 games left, so they I'm sure they'll try and win every game, the same way we'll try and win our games. But the most important thing is tomorrow.
How are you looking team-wise ahead of this one?
Yeah, same group of players as the last game. Martin Waghorn is back fit. He'll be available for the game tomorrow, whether he starts or is on the bench. Don't know yet. So, but other than Waggy, the squad is the same.
I guess that'll be a good boost for you having Waghorn back, given the fact that you're maybe struggling for options at the top end. Yeah,
I felt the game where he got injured, he come into the team, he started the game and looked really sharp. He was playing really well and then unfortunately got his injury. So, but he come back, he trained yesterday and trained really well, better than I expected. Coming back off a hamstring injury, so he'll be involved with us for the game tomorrow and hopefully he'll have an impact on the game.
Can I ask you, Wayne, about your old boss, Jose Mourinho, being sacked from Spurs this morning? What is your view on that?
I think it's crazy doing it before a cup final. It's strange timing anyway. Before a cup final, I'm sure they could have waited till after the cup final if that's what direction they wanted to go in. But Jose's a fantastic manager, one of the best managers I think the game's seen, and unfortunately his time's come to an end at Tottenham, but I'm sure he'll bounce back and I'm sure there'll be a lot of top clubs out there looking to bring him in.
How hard do you think it will be for the players preparing themselves for a cup final, knowing that the manager is gone now and they're obviously having to get used to perhaps a new setup, new regime, new tactics?
Yeah, it depends on the players. It depends on, and I've been there myself. Some players will get encouragement from the decision, and some players will be upset by the decision. So it's purely down to each player individually on their thoughts on what happened. But the one thing which happens a lot of times is when a manager leaves the club or gets sacked, someone comes in and a lot of the time you get a good reaction to them.
Thanks, Wayne. I'll pass on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Wayne. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Are the players playing at the moment with a degree of pressure or fear? Is that what you've been seeing, your players?
Certainly not fear. I think, as I said before, the performances have been good enough. What has cost us in recent weeks is giving away sloppy goals and individual mistakes which we need to cut out, because that has been costing us a lot. But in terms of performances and taking risks, certainly over the last few weeks, they've they've done exactly what we wanted in that sense. The big thing, as I said before, is the lack of goals has cost us this season. So we need to, in these next 4 games, do everything we can to score more goals.
The manager at Rotherham, not Rotherham, Doncaster this week, to try and arrest a slump in form, decided that he would play himself and put himself in the team. Has there been any point in the last few weeks where you've been struggling that you've ever thought about playing again, trying to rescue things on the pitch?
No.
Certain about that. Fair enough. In terms of this game, after this you only have 3 left. As already heard, Rotherham have got 2 games in hand on you. Does that make this game must win, or all 4 games now must win games, or must not lose games?
No, I think tomorrow is a must win game. We win that game, Rotherham 7 points behind us with the games in hand, but as I said, I'd rather have the point on the board. They have to go and win their games in hand. I think a lot of people are speaking as if these games in hand are 3 points waiting to go to them. They have to win it. There's a lot of pressure on Rotherham to do that, as well as there's a lot of pressure on us to win our game. So all we can focus on is ourselves on Tuesday to win the game against Preston.
You said the decision by Spurs to sack your old manager Jose Mourinho today was crazy. Why is it crazy?
I just think before a cup final, it's Mourinho is a manager who, which is quite clear to see, loves winning trophies. He's won a lot of trophies throughout his career. I think if there was one manager to set a team up to play against Man City in a cup final, it's Jose Mourinho. Now, obviously, Tottenham haven't had the best of seasons, so I think from that point of view, I think it is a bit crazy and it's a massive risk. And I'm sure, as I said before, Daniel Levy maybe could have waited till the day after the game, because I think that would have made more sense if they wanted to get rid of Mourinho.
Do you think we'll see him manage in England again? I mean, he's managed United, Chelsea, a couple of times, Spurs. I mean, it's hard to see where else he would manage in the Premier League.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of teams in England who would love to see him managing their clubs. So that's purely up to him if he wants to go into another club in England. And I'm sure there's a lot of clubs around the world who would love to have him.
One other big topic today is the European Super League. What's your initial thoughts on what you've read and what you've seen and what you've heard this morning about the big 6 clubs in this country, including your old club United, signing up and wanting this to happen?
I couldn't tell you who the top 6 clubs are in this country. I think there's many teams fighting to get in the top 4. So I think that's the first point. But in terms of everything I've seen yesterday and this morning, it's strange timing. I think it's a strange situation to come out, but I'm sure there's reasons for that. I think the best thing to do is to wait to see which information comes out and on how it's actually going to work, if that's the case, because the people in charge of these clubs are not stupid. The only thing I hope comes from it looks like it probably will happen. The only thing I hope comes from it is the English pyramid is protected and rewarded in some way in order to allow these clubs to go and do what they plan on doing.
It'll be to the detriment, won't it, Wayne, of the Premier League? I mean, what's the point in teams trying to win the Premier League in terms of the Big 6 when actually their sole ambition really will now be this European Super League on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night?
Yeah, I think that's why I'm curious of what information comes out. I think rather than jump the gun, I think we should wait to see what information comes out, because I'm sure the Premier League will always be a priority for clubs, but we have to wait to see which information comes out, and then and only then will I really give my true feelings on it.
Okay, and finally, on this one, players, it's been said by FIFA, might be stopped from playing international football. Nobody represented England more than you, nobody scored more goals for England than you. That meant a lot to play for your country. Do you think players would want to have a word with their bosses and say, listen, I'm not sure that I want to give up playing for my country, which is still the pinnacle of any footballer, surely.
So why would they give up playing for the country? Sorry, I missed
FIFA and
that.
UEFA are against this European Super League, and they're saying, right, if you play in that, you can't play in our competitions.
Yeah, well, I think that's another one where we have to wait to see where that goes. I know I certainly wouldn't give up playing for my country. I'm hugely honoured in playing for my country. So, but listen, I think there's going to be a lot of comments, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration with everything what's come out. But I think what's important is we see actually what does come out and what gets released, because it might be a lot of wasted words until we see where it goes.
Cheers, Wayne. Good luck at Preston.
Thank you.
Oh, Wayne, just a couple from me, because I know your time's short. Just wanted to follow that up. It sounds like there's been a lot of emotional reaction to the European Super League overnight. Is everyone getting a little, in your opinion, it sounds like everyone's getting a little too het up maybe about it too soon? Would that be an accurate way of summarising what you think?
Yeah, no, listen, I completely understand the frustration from everyone who's come out and had their opinions on it, but I think what's important is we see what it is. I don't know the full details of it. I'm sure not many people do, other than the clubs who are speaking about it. It might be some good which comes from it, I don't know, but I completely understand the frustration. I think if they totally break away from the Premier League, from the domestic cup competitions in England, I don't think that would be a great look. But what I'm saying is, let's just wait. Let's see what information comes out on it.
On a broader note, do you think money, the way money's flowed through the game in the last, the years I've been supporting, has been overall good for football in the end? Because that's what people are questioning now, is the role of money in the game overall.
Yeah, I think obviously it's quite clear there's a lot of money in football. The same way there's a lot of money in golf, there's a lot of money in Formula 1, a lot of money in tennis. So there's a lot of money the money has grown in every sport, in the majority of sports. We've seen now in women's football, they're putting more money into it. So I think that's a way of the world's gone. That's the way entertainment has gone, and we have to live in them times. Now, how that money gets distributed is a different matter, and I think most importantly the protection of the Premier League and the English pyramid is the most important thing. So I'm sure whatever the discussions these clubs have been having, they will be taking that into consideration.
Just one on you guys, because I think it's been covered fairly widely, but I just wonder how frustrated you are that the moments in this season when things have gone well, when you've gone on unbeaten runs, you've not been able to sort of make them stick, if you like, to build on them, that there's always been a step back after a step forward. How frustrated are you by the way this season has rolled on for you guys? Yeah,
I think, first of all, we are where we are because of results throughout the season. That's no getting away from that. But I think for my players, the effort, the determination they show every day, every game, is fantastic. So it's not through a lack of trying to win games or lack of effort where we're at, but we have to stand up and be men in these next 4 games. There's no getting away from that. We've got a lot of young players who this game is a lot of pressure for them. But they have to deal with that because they're in my squad for a reason, and I expect them to deal with that pressure and perform. I'm putting pressure on my players. It's a game we have to win. I've told the players that, and they know going into this game, we fully expect to come out of this game with 3 points.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Cheers, Wayne. Thank you.
Is it me now, guys? Yeah. Sorry, it's Phil Brewster here from ITV Central. Hello, Wayne. Just a couple of questions from me. You've touched upon it already, but I mean, obviously Rotherham have got those couple of games in hand now. But would you rather have the points? Is that psychologically better for you that having your points in the bank, as it were, rather than having the extra 2 games?
Yeah, exactly. I think you can look at it both ways. They have to win them games to get back level or back above us. But also we have to win our games to make sure the points we have is growing. So listen, it's in Rotherham's hands. If they win their games, they stay in the division. It's as simple as that. So we have to focus on our job. We have to make sure we try and get positive results, and which allow us to stay in this division. So we're doing everything we can to do that.
Just on the Super League issue, and we'll sort of come back to that now. As a young player, there was some suggestion that some younger players, if they wanted to play for their country, etc., wouldn't necessarily be interested. Would you, as a younger player in your prime, kind of be interested in playing at Super League level like that? It's a lot of money.
Yeah, but I think what you have to look at is the history of English football. And as I said before, I'm sure all this is getting discussed. If this is something on top of what we've got, on top of the competitions the teams are playing in, then that's a decision for them clubs to take. If it's something which is going to help non-league football, League One, League Two, Championship, other Premier League clubs, that's something I'm sure they're discussing. So I think we have to wait to see where it goes. We've actually almost played in the competition which they're talking about in pre-season. We played in the Champions Cup, which it had Manchester United, Manchester City, Tottenham, Liverpool, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Bayern Munich. It had all these teams in it. So I'm sure they're looking on expanding that, and it seems like what they're looking on doing is taking that away from the pre-season and doing it during the season, which that's something which we have to wait to see what comes from them.
Looking at some of the fans' reaction, not only just from other clubs, but also the big six that are potentially involved in the Super League, it looks like they're just thinking it's got to the point now where these clubs just don't care about the fans anymore. They are at the heart of the game after all. And that it's about global TV revenue and sponsorship revenue by the owners. And they've kind of given up on the fans. They don't need them anymore. Do you have any view on that at all?
Listen, I can speak not on behalf, but I can speak of working at Manchester United for such a long time. That's the last thing Manchester United would try and jeopardise, is the relationship with the fans. I know that for a fact. I know everything that they will be looking at is from a point of view which will help the club move forward, but also help the fans stay involved. But I can't speak for the other clubs, but listen, I think let's just wait and see what information comes out. Whether it's good news, whether it's bad news, I think we can all have a clearer opinion on the situation then.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Hello, Wayne. Your Good Friday win over Luton, which came after the international break, you won it, and afterwards you said to your players before they went out, don't come off that pitch with anything less than 3 points. Is that very much going to be your final words to your players at Deepdale tomorrow?
It's the only words. It's as simple as that. It's we'll set the team up. We'll obviously give them the information of how we want them to play. But ultimately, things happen in games. Things happen good for you. Things happen bad for you. We have to make sure we win the game. We find a way to win the game regardless of performance. So the players know that. The messages have been given to players since the game against Blackburn. And yeah, it's a pressure game. Enjoy it. Enjoy the challenge.
Enjoy? Is it possible to enjoy it when it's so fraught at the bottom? And it leads on to my next question, really, about you and the pressure that maybe you're feeling currently, because with one win in 11, clearly not an ideal run of form at this stage of the season. How much pressure are you feeling at the moment to try and turn things around?
I think in football you'd have challenging moments. This is obviously one of them, and you have to get through these moments. For me, I enjoy them. As you said, can you enjoy it? You do enjoy them. You enjoy the challenge, and the rewards are far greater when you enjoy them and you get through them. So for the players, they have to find a way to win, and when you win, the enjoyment is much greater.
What sort of game are you expecting tomorrow? Because Preston hardly shaking things up at the moment, are they? 1 win in 9, recently sacked Alex Neil. Will it be a cagey, nervy, end-of-season kind of game?
I don't know from Preston's point of view, but we're going into the game to win. We're going into the game to attack them and get as many goal-scoring opportunities as we can, but also knowing we have to be cautious because Preston are a good team as well. It'll be a tough game. They can mix it up, they can be direct, or they play, once they get into your half, they play a bit more football than they do in their own half. So we have to be ready for that. But for us, we have to play with a belief in how we're going out, how we're setting up, that we can go and win the game.
Last couple from me. You clearly will have lots of eyes on Rotherham with their run-in as well. Are you at all concerned that as you head towards the latter part of the season, that some of the opposition might not be taking the game as seriously as you'd like them to? For instance, Neil Warnock watching Rotherham yesterday in their winner and their loss to Birmingham, Middlesbrough go to Rotherham on Wednesday. Any concerns that teams that Rotherham might play might not be giving it their all?
No, I think obviously Neil Warnock will have been there scouting for their game, which they play on Wednesday. And Neil's a fantastic manager who has been around the game for a long time. And Neil actually had his own issues with Sheffield United getting relegated for not playing his best team. So I've certainly nothing to worry about from that point of view with Neil Warnock. And I'm sure with the other teams, like for instance Preston are almost safe. I wouldn't expect anything less than them playing their best team, their strongest 11 tomorrow. So as long as we do our jobs, then we don't have to worry about other teams, what they do.
And finally, I know Martin Waghorn back is good news for you, but other injury concerns, there was no Benny Beninkami, no Ted and Mengi either. What's the latest on those two?
Yeah, Benny, we're still assessing to see if we can get him back fit before the end of the season. Tedden will miss the rest of the season and will join back up with Manchester United from today. I think he's been fantastic for us. You can see him growing with each game. And he's someone who I'll keep in contact with. We'll keep in contact with Manchester United over our plans with Tedden for next season.
Is obviously end of the season is pretty close, so is it one that is a sort of a few weeks and that's that, or is it longer term than that?
Yeah, no, it's not too serious, but he's just not going to recover in time to play a game before the end of the season. So obviously he's a Manchester United player. They want to take him back and make sure they treat him. And as I said before, I'll keep in close contact with both the player and the club to see what our plans are with Tedden for next season.
Sure.